bring you down a little bit. Is that a bit better? All right, so I'll just sit here awkwardly for a few minutes because sometimes when you go live just using YouTube and not using maybe StreamYard and everything, it'll say you're live and then you've said several sentences and voila, they're simply not there. Where's my... Okay, just wait. Yes, sausage. You can't come through because there's no... I'm just doing something, darling. Do you want to wait outside, please? Off you go. Bobby. Do you want to go on your bed? Want to go on there? Here we go. Okay. The joy of dogs. He's going to decide in about 1 minute that he wants to go back outside. But anywho, so let's press on. So Baldwin and Rosie, whom I like to refer to as Netflix and chill. Why Netflix and chill? Well, I do get the sense that a lot of what is going on with regards to the clawing and clinging to Richard Allen, their star, internationally famous client is, well, ex-client, is to do with the coverage, the fame and the money that, you know, they feel that they will be reaping no matter what happens with the case. You know, they are going to be national, if not worldwide names. I think maybe they fancy themselves as kind of Ben Chew-esque. They don't have the intelligence, true wit, or personality of Ben Chew. 1 moment. Hi, darling. But, you know, that shouldn't hamper any murder investigation, right? So the cult of personality shouldn't mean that if somebody doesn't have a Ben Chew, they don't get fabulous representation. One thing I'll say about Ben Chew is I can guarantee you that he runs a very tight ship as far as his profession, as far as his officers, the security, his procedures. Absolutely everything will be under lock and key, and he will not be known as the lawyer who leaked. Okay. Oh, hello. Look, somebody has arrived. Hello, whomever you are. They've gone again. So Baldwin and Rosie, since December 2022, the defense that they've been offering to Richard M. Allen for the felony murders charges for the deaths of Abigail Williams and Liberty German, the defense that they've been running has been plagued with, hey, JK, how are you? So I've just started. I never know whether to get right into it because, you know, then people arrive and I want to sort of recap. But I haven't really said much yet. I'm just getting started. I have decided that I'm calling Baldwin and Rosie Netflix and chill. Now, normally I will look down upon all the name calling, the nicknames, the derogatory terms and things like that, right? But sometimes they just seem appropriate and more harmless than if I were, say, to call an actual victim or victims' families' names. But when you've got characters, oh, thanks, Johnny. This was This was an op shop dress. It's a little op shop dress that I got for $7. So, you know, I just thought, well, I never get to wear anything these days because I never really go anywhere. So I thought I'd wear it here. So in some instances, it just seems to fit, okay? So whilst I usually frown on it, you know, people that follow this channel certainly know there are plenty of times that I have some choice words and names for people. But yes, I do not like to do that for actual victims, families, or people that have not been convicted of a crime, etc. So Baldwin and Rosie, Netflix and chill, trying to hang on to the Starship Enterprise like Klingons, and it's probably the opinion of a few people, maybe more right-leaning people, and not the liberal left wackos that want Ellen released and Baldwin and Rosie retained. I mean, they're just illogical and soft in the head. So Baldwin and Rosie, who are clinging on for the fame and money that will no doubt come when the Delphi murders reach more heady heights than an HLN Down the Hill special, which has been very successful numbers-wise, more successful than, say, you know, what other, you know, this CW series. I mean, the CW series that's being made, it's being made for television, I believe. Television, probably actually online streaming. But anywho, it's a series of about 13 episodes. The Delphi Murders series episode is, I think, number 3. So we could refer to it as the CW3, just like, hey, the WM3, right? Who, by the way, are absolutely guilty. And the representation that they have been giving and that they think should just be ignored and washed down the drain, swept under the rug, leaks of information since December 22 coming out of their office, a compromised case. They're playing games. They just completely failed to secure information that was under gag order. And it's unacceptable. It's unacceptable in so many professions not to have a locked down office, not to have security in place. And Baldwin is a death penalty lawyer. Wouldn't you now like to go through and look at other cases and see where he has let other people down? I would like to do a review. And we need to remember that part of this scandal, this absolutely abhorrent failure of justice, because Richard Allen needs justice, and how he gets that is through you know, this due process and due diligence, having you know, legal process. He's not getting the defense that any person charged with such a heinous crime or any crime deserves. They have failed, and it has culminated in the suicide of a person directly involved. Okay, so there's a string of people involved, all starting with the fact that Baldwin, a death penalty attorney, so here's someone that is taking on major cases, very important cases that have extremely serious outcomes, and he just thinks that he is in, what, 1980? This is the year 2023, and there are electronic tools and there are all sorts of systems that people can use to lock officers, to video to have CCTV, to use passwords and codes and simply lock and key. And it's pretty effing basic stuff, okay? And not only can they not keep things under lock and key and keep things secure and really respect the profession that they're in, respect the country that they say that they, the laws that they are upholding. They're shown just this flocky knocky nihilipilification for the system and the process, due process. It's so lackadaisical and so lazy. It's as if he started his law firm 20 years ago and just never gave it a real thought. And he's not moved with the times, and he's not realized. Hi, Otto. He's not current. He's not savvy. And yet this Netflix and chill group of people are thinking that, yeah, we'll be smart and we will use social media. We're going to use them. We recognize the sickness here. We recognize the bias here. We recognize the greed. And as Dina said, and was quite right about the bloodlust, and that's what Baldwin and Rosie wanted to use. This guy that is living in the 1980s and can't lock down his office and can't take the security measures that everybody in 2023 has available to them, and actually has done for a long time. He thinks he's going to use social media, which is what he's done, because he recognizes the ghoulish properties, but he also fails to recognize the flip side of this and what media means, what social media means, how thirsty they are, and how they can go about getting information. He's thinking that his law firm, we're all family here. Once you've worked here, we're family. Well, fine. Have them walk in and out of your backyard, Mr. Baldwin. You should be doing an absolute debriefing and an absolute sign over or whatever of everything every time someone leaves your premises and doesn't work there anymore, down to the cleaners, down to paralegals, down to secretaries, researchers, other attorneys. Okay, you change passwords on doors, you change passwords in computers, you take software and hardware away, you remove all tools of trade from them, and they are not allowed to just walk in and out of your office. They can do what people do in normal circumstances, and that is make appointments or walk in and ask to see someone, and they are supervised at all times, and they are certainly not near any technology or electronics or whatever where they can get information and photograph it and send it on. And BS that it is just only with people that it's been sent. It is actually widely available now to people who know where to look. Any MOP, any member of the public can see Abby and Libby, okay, and that they're happening. And it's just a matter of time before it is out in front of people who don't know where to look or aren't actively searching, but we'll see it when they're looking at Delphi murders updates. That's going to happen, mark my words. And scum buckets like Murder Sheet, Rick Snay, I mean, what a sniveling little animal he is. He's such a fool. He thinks that in the CW Delphi Murders episode that he is going to be a hero. He's there to be laughed at. Mark my words. Hey, might be wrong. Hey, not there yet. I know I'm a bit of a vampire when it comes to consuming information. Hi, Perry. Perry says the fact that the leak, like we don't say unalived here, Perry, we say suicide and we say murder. This person, he did commit suicide. Now, suicide is complex, and it doesn't have to have been a single event that has created this awful situation for this person where he has gone ahead and he has suicided. However, I did cite in a previous live, I think, a situation where a woman did kill herself and she was simply part of a chain, just like this person. And the immense shame, her feeling, her instant paranoia and shame and huge distress. She didn't get the opportunity to be supported, calmed, helped, counseled. She very quickly just took her own life, and that was when there was a prank played by Australian radio DJs who called a hospital in the UK when I think Catherine had George, something like that. So called and pretended to be the Queen and got put through to someone, and then this lady that put it through to the actual office, someone put it through again. It wasn't even the lady that put it through to the suite. It was the lady on reception that just simply put it through to another sort of what should have been another boundary to the privacy of the royal family. But that receptionist, that administrative clerk, he killed herself. So yeah, I mean, in court is where this all belongs. I mean, to Australians, New Zealanders, people around the world, I mean, the American bloodlust, as Dina called it, for, and the entitlement, thinking that you should know everything before something gets to trial, it repulses us. But it's also, your lack of privacy is also what makes American crime. It's part of what makes American crime so fascinating to people down under, for example. But it does make it, it's like watching a car crash, and the behavior that it induces in people with the true crime ghouls and things like that. I mean, it's so sickening, really. But it's what you choose. It's your, that's how you are, and that's what you want. But, where's the joy? You've got to draw this line. The people that are baying for Richard Allen to be released, are they serving him? Are they really serving him by what they're doing? Do you think Rick Snay has served Rick Allen and justice that he thinks he wants? So Baldwin has failed to secure that case. That's just the bottom line. So he can beg till he's blue in the face to represent Allen pro bono, so for free at his own cost, because of course, he is weighing up what he'll get in return. He's not doing it for free. Okay, he's doing it for the coverage, the fame, and eventually the funds that he thinks are going to funnel to him when everything's over. Okay, that's how he imagines himself. I will bet my bottom dollar. So that's why I'm calling Baldwin and Rosie Netflix and chill. And it's just, if you think of an analogy, now I know, okay, so that's not theft as such, although you could say, well, they're stealing justice, they're stealing due process, they're stealing integrity out of the case. But imagine an employee of yours, they are embezzling. Okay, imagine they're embezzling. They're just moving things around here and there, helping themselves out with something, maybe it starts off, they're taking a few $100s out, but they'll put it back, and then maybe they realize it just becomes a habit, and then maybe they don't start paying it back, and then maybe they are committing more and more dastardly fraud and being quite blatant, and eventually they're caught because the accountants realize there's $100,000 unaccounted for, and that they should have, and that they're struggling financially. There's been invoices not paid, but it's been held back and covered for as long as possible. I mean, just think about the Randall wife, okay, and hair embezzlement, okay? Yeah, Randall of Carroll County. So, you know, and it's like that person. So you go, this, I just, you know, you'd, number one, you'd want to actually take them to court, but you would be firing them. They would lose their job. It's just not acceptable, right? And it's like that person coming back and saying, well, you know, I've been with the company so long and I'll just work for you for free. Right? And also go and look at Peter Hyatt's video that he put out. I can't remember how long ago. It's probably his most recent because I was watching it in the wee hours this morning. And Peter Hyatt, he does some statement analysis. Well, he's talking about a scenario, and it's actually a real world scenario where I missed the very start and I didn't go back and listen, but I think it maybe even it's an executive, maybe even a C-level person in a company was submitting expenses for a business trip, and he'd submitted some that he was being questioned about because, oh, that's a lot of coffees and sandwiches. And Peter Hyatt was analysing the statement, the way that the person just said on, or maybe he was submitting his things and just saying, you know, here, I need these paid for. And it was just the way he talked about it. It became apparent that he was actually billing for sandwiches and coffee for maybe a girlfriend, right? Not a business associate, not someone that he was working a deal with, and it's part of company culture to entertain. Now you might think, well, this is a person with a huge role, and you know, why can't they have the perks? Why can't they buy a few sandwiches at such a small amount? Well, you know, it's absolutely the principle, because that person has no boundaries. Where does it stop? And they also are lying about it when they've been asked about it. So, you know, that's an integrity issue, and it's completely unacceptable. And the company did the right thing as far as I'm concerned, and that person lost the job. A man that shows up in the courtroom dressed like teenagers cannot be thought of as a serious investigative reporter. Is that Snay? Yeah, he's not a very sophisticated person, but anyway. So Richard Allen is looking healthier. Now that's great, especially if he's an innocent man, and he is innocent until proven guilty. Most people are arrested because there really is good reason for it. Everybody on both sides, on all sides, even our side, or hopefully all of our side, the fence side, you know, he's innocent until proven guilty, but we need to acknowledge that people are arrested for a reason. Sometimes, yeah, sure, corruption, but often it's for a reason, and we haven't seen the discovery. And a lot of discovery is happening way after the PCA. I mean, look at what's happening now with Erin Patterson in Australia. This is a woman that she's hit the headlines because 4 people that she had to lunch got sick, 3 died. These were her ex-husband, or soon-to-be ex-husband's parents, and his mother's sister and her husband. And only one of these people survived. She cooked them beef Wellington. Now, there's been an investigation going on, right? But now she's been arrested. She's just been arrested months later after July, when the incident first happened. One person survived, in Harrison, and he has fought tooth and nail for his life. He has been gravely ill, and he's an elderly person too, but he is alive, and so he can testify. He is a witness, and now that he's witnessed, the Australian Federal Police have arrested Erin, and what's happening now is now the very deep investigation that they weren't able to do before. They've got a search warrant. They are in her home. They have Australian Federal Police tech team dogs in there, okay? And that's what's going to be, this is discovery happening now, right? This is the true heart of the investigation. They were suspicious. They've been investigating her. They've interviewed her. Now they've gotten the okay to arrest her and a search warrant because they've got grounds. And now they're going to go in and find evidence. And if you don't think that Baldwin has been trying to, don't look over here, look here, you've got another thing coming. So Richard Allen, was this all contrived about the Odinism by Allen? And people will make a lot about October 31. See, the Satanists, it's an Esbat, and it's an awful, I mean, I don't celebrate Halloween. I think it's a disgusting ritual, but each to their own, because some of them are just doing it for entertainment. But just be aware that when you take part in ritual, you are taking part in ritual, okay? Anyway, so the energy is there, whether you mean it or not, okay? So what if that is taking a dig at Richard Allen, because all along they have seen this, the staging of non-secular things at the scene, the staging of, okay? And they know that this crime against 13-year-old Abby, 14-year-old Libby, they know, because they're not stupid, and we know what we're looking at. We're looking at a sexually motivated, violent fantasy crime, and that's what we're looking at. And if you think law enforcement, oh, something cute. So you've got law enforcement and you've got poor enforcement. So Erin's got both after her, right? Full force. And I'll tell you what, Australian Federal Police, they get things done. I know. Do American feds get things done? I mean, I really can't think of many successful operations. They kind of meddle, or they really drop the ball, especially Indiana Federal Police, right? I mean, in crimes to do with young girls as well, because what did they do about Larry Nassar? Yeah, what did they do about Larry Nassar, the doctor for the American gymnastics team? The person who used to abuse girls in front of their parents even. They didn't do anything. Yeah. So, but the Australian Federal Police are on Erin's tail, and they'll get her if there's anything to be got. Okay, innocent until proven guilty. So, yes, it is a sexually motivated crime. So, what if, because in the build-up, since August, and reevaluating the crime from now this new angle, interviewing Patrick Westphal, maybe for reasons that you don't realize, because maybe they wanted to understand what the staging was trying to emulate. Maybe they wanted to talk to him about that. Well, they interviewed him just to make sure, we can wipe that off the table. We've done our, what is it? Repeat after me, due diligence. We've done our due diligence in working up to arresting the person that we believe is responsible for the sexually motivated crime, okay? So the murders of 2 teenage girls who were left in a very particular way in the woods in Delphi. And maybe, they are taking a fucking dig at Richard Allen. And the first hearing date, October 31st, 2022, and then the hearing date now, October 31st, 2022, because, hey, a year to the day is just how these things happen, right? So now it's been set, his trial, for October 15th to October 31st next year, 2024. We shall see, because, the new laws, probably what they've got in their arsenal is to, appeal after appeal after appeal, right? This is probably what they're going to try and do. Appeal after appeal after appeal to get Gull removed or whatever. But we shall see. Hopefully she holds on in there, because it wasn't Gull that leaked, okay? Gull did not commit the crime against Abby and Libby, and she didn't create this shit show. She's trying to quiet it down, which she's been trying to do for a while. So Richard Allen. So how did this all happen, right? So you've got March. In March, the two guys who were wearing patches, they're quite new to the prison system, and maybe they'd been newly indoctrinated into what a lot of prison guards, particularly in Indiana, are into. And they're proudly wearing their badges because they can. Maybe they've been encouraged to, because, people on the inside are pretty well aware of what Richard Allen was trying to do with the staging. And in fact, people out here, the members of the public, we've been very aware right from the start that there is staging involved, that it's sort of ritualistic, that there's something on about it. It's non-secular, right? Yeah, maybe they're a bit pissed off. Anywho, but maybe Richard Allen, he sees it in March and goes, this is my break, because I was trying to set it up to be weird. And, and then in April the 3rd, he's I don't know, what would you say? We can't say confessing. We could say that he is, I can't think of the word, but we don't know. We need to hear the phone calls, okay? We need to wait. People in other countries, they kind of have patience for due process. It's funny that people that call for due process push. They're rabid. They're so rabid. And they're used to being listened to. They're used to bullying people around, and they're used to being very convincing and just having people going, oh, you good one, you're so bright. I'm just going to repeat everything you've said. I'm taking that on as my own ideology, my own belief system. Yeah, up with Baldwin and Rosie, Sixth Amendment. Oh, but I think they're being exposed well and truly now. I hope so, and I hope they just start being called out when they try, going in. And, I think there's a lot of people that have been leakers, or, sources, right? I won't name them, but we all are in the comment sections with these people, and you'll know them. And now, yeah, that they're being called out for their bias, and for their Machiavellianism. We don't have to listen to them. We can listen to it. You don't have to listen to me either. So, in April on the 3rd, he's having phone calls with his wife and with his mom. Her name Janice. And, he's not talking to them after that for a long time. And then, Rosie is constructing and writing along with Baldwin this Frank motion, and then that's not sealed. They know that this is going to be published, and it's all, rolling on from there, and they're clinging to this like glue, and they are using social media. So not only in December the leaks, but now in April, what's happening? We're getting images of clothing, and on and on and on it goes until what has happened, and until the culmination of events ending in loss of life. In loss of life. And this is just being quite glossed over, isn't it? For the most part, not by everybody. Otto says, I've been going through that list of items that they took from Richard Allen's home. The Timberland boots interest me. Look up vintage and bingo. Yeah. And he probably would have, you know, those sorts of boots are the type of boots that you have that you really wear in. I think the boots that Bridge Guy is wearing look really worn in, you know. Johnny's agreeing with not there yet. Not there yet. Saying deviant and cultish behavior. About what? I'm not sure. What's swapping the girls' clothes got to do with Odinism? Yeah, redressing that's a signature, Perry. That is a signature. It's not sort of staging, although it's part of it, isn't it? But that's what is considered a signature. I'll mention it again because it's just simply so good. But Dr. Claire Ferguson, she's actually from the UK, but she's been living in Australia for a long time, and she studied down in on the Gold Coast at Bond University, and she's now a forensic criminologist who works for, you know, people like Queensland Police and everything like that. She's, you know, helping solve crimes. And there are historical unsolved crimes, of course, in Queensland. But I will tell you now, our record, we practically, we don't have unsolved murder cases here, okay? Now, well, you know, yeah, there are some very interesting historical ones, and sometimes they go on for a little bit while, you know, of course, but they're pretty much solved, okay? Sometimes like that. But she, in getting for her PhD, she wrote The Defects of the Situation. So please look that up. You can just look up Dr. Ferguson, The Defects of the Situation. You can print out this paper, and this is 10 years ago only, really. This is in terms of history, studies, and things like that. This is recent. This is recent research. She's also using other fairly recent research from a team of researchers who are renowned. And it is fascinating, and it's all about staged murders. And she's not guessing with profiling like the FBI do, like John Douglas, etc. This is statistics, this is science, this is fact, and she explains it, and it's absolutely fascinating. And I did make a 4-part series on it. It's not very good, but it's in my Delphi playlist. However, so, and with regards to the FBI profilers, they very often are wrong, okay? They are biased, and they are wrong, and they miss things about the scene, funnily enough. And it's all revealed. A lot of it's revealed in her amazing thesis. And now this person she's a lecturer and a professor, and she works with so many authorities in Australia, and we have an excellent solved rate. So I think there's something in that. So, golly, sorry, try and keep on course, right? So, you know, and, you know, Richard Allen is getting healthier now. Physically, he looks better, doesn't he? So, you know, he's lost all that booze weight, and maybe, you know, he's, you know, you've got to consider criminal malingering. I know people don't like to hear this, and they just say it's because he's abused, he's concerned. And of course, this could be very true. Could be very true. You know, he's an innocent person. He's absolutely devastated, and he's feeling unheard and tormented and railroaded. This could be true. Okay, and that would make you physically ill. It would make you mentally ill. But there is a particular type of predator who play on this pity, and they are the most dangerous predators And it's people like Harvey Weinstein, and you can all name your own person that you know of, that you know from 1 minute before arrest, they're just pretty robust, even if they're living despicable lifestyles. And then suddenly, the very next day, they're turning up to court and they're grey and they're wane and they're on a walker, they're in a wheelchair, and they have their oxygen and they're on a drip. They've got a nurse with them. And oh boy, yeah, they make quite the recovery after they are convicted and in jail. But it's criminal malingering. I'm not saying that, I can't say that Richard Allen's doing that, but it's possible. It's possible that in March he's seen these badges and he thinks, wow, yeah, this is it. And he's the one. Now, Baldwin and Rosie should have been aware through the information that they received from the prosecution about the investigation. They should have been aware that people like Brad Holder and etc. Were interviewed, but maybe Odin was never spoken of then, right? Maybe the word Odin. Hi, Brenda. No, that's right. So he apparently, this is according to Baldwin and Rosie, Allen has said, oh, the Odinists are here. I'm scared, whatever he said, right? But he has mentioned this to Baldwin and Rosie. And so thereafter, April, this whole Frank's motion has come about. They're not just concentrating on, we've got a legal standing to get this search warrant dismissed because Liggett did this and someone did that and it wasn't dotted over the I and crossed over the T. No, because if they really felt that there was something wrong with the investigation, if it was as corrupt as they say, and if it wasn't legally sound, why wouldn't they just stick to that? Why would they have to bring in and know that it's going to be released to the public this Odinist done it theory? It reeks of tainting and manipulation and red herring, doesn't it? But it was Rick Allen that's brought that up to them. They have run with it, and it was after that in May that they have then tased him twice. They weren't tasing him before his April 3 confession. He's seen the patches. This is just a thought, just a theory. He's seen the patches. He's acted as if he's threatened by making some sort of announcement. I don't think we can say confession because it's probably something more to do, with that was me on the bridge, maybe something like that. Or yes, I went to the trails and I just never told you. I didn't tell you that day. And then thereafter, I've never told you. And I'm sorry I didn't tell you to go, that I went and talked to Doolin because I didn't want to worry you. I didn't want to bring you into this vortex. We're already so worried about Abby and Libby. We've been buying the t-shirts and supporting the walks and things like that. And just as a family with our own daughter, I just didn't want you to be concerned and right? Who knows? Okay, so we don't know what these phone calls say, but it was maybe more something like that. And then in May, like what? Because is he really playing up? His criminal malingering is at an all-time high. He's refusing to get up. He's not getting out of his bed. He won't go out to shower, whatever it is, right? So have they had to tase him to move him the fuck along? Has he pretended to be like, oh, I'm holding up a chair at them or something, right? Is he creating this? Okay, so there is that option, okay? And Baldwin and Rosie, Netflix and Chill are going to want to grasp on and keep this case in their hold because, they don't want to be exposed by new attorneys who are going to come in and say, fuck that, it's bullshit and we can't get anywhere with it. Who who knows, right? And Rosie actually even mentioned that, or he's concerned that they will not follow down that path. You know, the new people aren't going to continue on this journey about Odinism and the ritual sacrifice, right? So there's that. And that brings us to, you know, so social media, the ghouls being used maybe by Ellen, by, you know, because Ellen's had 6 years of watching us, right? And hey, maybe he's a bit more savvy than we give him credit for. If he is the murderer, okay? You know, and we've got Baldwin's call for journalism, call for this. Where are these investigative journalists? Yes, as I've actually said myself throughout this, if there was something there, don't you think that someone after a Pulitzer Prize is all over it? And there has been investigative journalists, and where has it ended? Just in more conspiracy, just in fueling the trolls. You've got the Down the Hill. You've got the recent one that was released through Fig Souls initially. You've got these documentaries. You've got people interested. They've been on Dr. Phil Baldwin. Okay, there could be a good reason why people are not picking it up. True journalists, Anya Kane, true journalists aren't picking it up and running with it. They're not making it their life's work, where they are creating a Pulitzer Prize, you know, factual book, about non-fiction book about the Delphi murders, are they? So, yeah, just if you know, attorneys need to focus on their work, focus on due process. Maybe he could have gotten further if he was concerned about Ellen's investigation and the prosecution, if he had just concentrated on the Supreme Court coming in or whatever, right? But instead, look at what they've gone for. And yeah, and then we've got, you know, part of these ghouls are the people that, you know, the conspirators about the family, right? And they're pretty open about, you know, they're pretty open with their abuse and their hatred and their accusations toward the family. As a general whole, you know, the family, they call it, the families. Sometimes it's just sort of focusing on Kelsey Seibert. Interestingly, Seibert is German. It's German for bright star. So Kelsey, who's now Seibert, who's got a young daughter now with her husband, you know, so it's sometimes focused on her, it's sometimes focused on the ludicrous theory that because Derek German is a snitch, you know, Ashley Garth killed his children because Ashley, you know, had issues with seeing her own children because of her felonious enterprises, and she blames Derek. Ashley Garth herself has just spat that back out. She thinks that's the most ludicrous lunacy. But people still run with it. Why? Because we've got these ghouls online, these people that are used to being sources and researchers and just, you know, people that control the narrative. We've got these repeaters in our community. So these repeaters just, they see that. I mean, I've been guilty of this, like seeing something and going, oh shit, what if, right? Because Pat Brown and his relationship and his walk and his, you know, but it's something you might mull over and talk about. Do you start a hate campaign? It's a different thing altogether. And these irrational, illogical people. And then, and, you know, and you've got creators like, let's just call her Baby Mal, who is, you know, and you've got the unhinged, you know, true crime deranged. There's a lot. There's hundreds probably, but, you know, we know in our community who these people are, right? And I call them the true village of the damned because they like to call and paint Delphi as the village of the damned. Baby Mal, she's first was an investigator into flora fire, and now she's sort of angling more over into Delphi, even though she hates the Delphi scene, because why is it all about Delphi? Why isn't it about Galen Rose and the 4 children that she lost in a fire? Well, Galen Rose fucked off to Florida. The Becky Patty, Mike Patty, Anna Williams team, Kelsey German, they all kept the Delphi murders, the murders of Abby and Livy, front and center. Okay, they worked at it. That's why, maybe that's why. And Carter acknowledges that, and he says this is why. So these people that accuse them think that somehow they want to actually keep it wide open as well. So they're unhinged, they're biased. Okay, they say things like hundreds of years of sacrifice, that the Paddies have been making, that their family that have been making sacrifices for hundreds of years, and this is just the latest in the long line. They bring up the secret societies. I'll talk more about something, but let me just say, okay, so they want to make a big deal about the Masonic cemetery, and the cemeteries that Libby's laying in, right? She's got to lie somewhere. These are generational cemeteries. They make it out like Delphi is like ground zero, and this is where it's all happening. There are so many Masonic cemeteries all over Indiana. It's just part of the history. So what they don't realize is if they looked at one town, pick a fucking town, and then pick a family, and they can do their work, they can do their evil unhinged work. They could do a number on anyone they looked at. They could create it, right? And suckers and sycophants and people soft in the head, they'll follow that too. Just very briefly, not even 5 minutes, 1 minute online tells me how many other Masonic cemeteries there are. This isn't just, Delphi isn't the hub of it, right? And this is just in Indiana. Of course, you've got the Deer Creek Township, Van Buren, Huntington, Farraville, Milo, Union Township, Monroeville, Spencer Township, Waynetown, Marshall, Grant, Warren, and Culver, where the Titanic passengers and crew, where a lot of Titanic passengers and crew. Oh, because what's conspiracy was the Titanic. Yeah, let's get into that. And because people, because certain names come up to do, they're on these boards and everything, and they're owners and they operate these cemeteries. Okay, so the Masonic cemetery, it's actually Mount Olive now, I think, the Deer Creek Township Cemetery. And Deer Creek Township is actually where Richard Allen's family home was until it was sold recently. The trustees are Doris McClelland. Ooh, Doris McClelland. David McCain. Ooh. Janie, can't remember now. Was it Jamie Smith? And Jane Abbott. So much of a meal is made out of the money, money that Mike Patty is just money hungry, and he's just grifting and is, strong-arming money for the ballpark and all sorts of things. Because obviously this is a bad thing, right? Well, actually, in 2019, the $15,000 that Mike Patty asked for, he's told, we don't have the money for this at the moment. People, it's like they say that Gull has only supported the prosecution. Judge Gull turned down the request of the prosecution for Richard Allen's medical records. The defense went to her and said, we don't agree. We don't think this is serving our client. We don't think it's part of this case. They don't have the right to it. And we petition you not to release Rich and Ellen's medical records to the prosecution. And Judge Gull said, yeah, I totally agree. No, you can't have it. Okay. But they shouldn't, you know, the Goulds and the sources and the researchers, let's call them, they don't let truth get in the way of a good story, you know, because we all know they cherry pick, they gaslight, they manipulate, they bully, you know, and they're so full of themselves. And, you know, because they might be able to, you know, they cite this paper and that, and because they're the ones that have got the bloody time to sit at a PC and go in and get things, you know, and, you know, releases from the courts and things. People think like they're amazing. It's just that, yeah, not everyone does it, or has the resources to do it, or the knowledge. So they think that it's amazing. It's just pretty regular. You know, so they were told, look, there's not enough to meet these requests. For example, $15,000 for Mike Patty for Libby and Abby's Park in 2019. Oh, that's a lot of money. 15 grand. Okay, well, who else asked for money? $15,000 for the Wabash and Erie Canal Association. The Wabash and Erie Canal being the radio tower where, so you've got the crime scene, you've got Ron Logan's, you've got a tower, you've got town, and you've got the Wabash Erie Canal. This is a radio tower. This is a radio tower. This is where the pings are. Couldn't triangulate. Okay. But there's museums there and everything. The area is amazing historically. It's very interesting. And people fight to, you know, keep it and treasure it. And it's so frowned on by these ghouls. It's just, I can't do it. $22,500 to the Family Community Centre. So this is the money that they're trying to get, and I think they had something like 118,000. You should just look up Debbie Lowe is the one. You've probably seen her on videos. She films in the council meetings and everything. She's a reporter for the Comet, Carroll County Comet. But so she can report on all this. The Hoosier Heartland Incorporated, they were looking for $37,500. Now, the Oddfellows Trust, is this the IOF that Gould True, she's unhinged, okay? She's actually, she's unhinged, True Crime Design. So the Oddfellows, this association, this is all related as well, but the Times Past Fund in 2018, people won't highlight things like this. They were going, oh, why did we receive, what happened, what's this $500? Nicholas McClelland paid $500 to the Times Past Fund because a property that they have where someone was living in, he couldn't afford other accommodation, and he couldn't afford this rent. He couldn't afford to pay some rent. Nick McClelland paid it. But don't worry, you won't hear that on the flip side, okay? You won't hear about things like that because, remember, he's the boss, says Patrick Westfall. Yeah, he's the fucking boss of you, you loser. You know, people can't stand ambition. They can't stand when people are young and they are achieving things, like maybe that they've got the guts to become mayor. Okay, now sure, there are things that are pretty spooky, like, you know, appointing a coroner when they're 19, right? Because clearly somebody young and they're not developed in their brain and maybe they don't have much of an education. I mean, they could well be a little puppet, right? But yeah. So there's family, you know, the people saying the family are conspirators, murderers. they can't make up their mind, number one, though, right? They can't make up whether Ernest's done it or someone's done it or it's revenge, and the families are promising not to tell. They can't make up their mind, but at the same time they're talking about how powerful they are, how evil they are, how untrustworthy they are, how much they lie. With regards to Flora Fire, so what they're insinuating here is that there's a correlation between Flora Fire, because you've got the ludicrous baby Mal, so Becky Patty did a valuation. Becky Patty did a valuation on the home a month prior to that slum. Josh Ayres et al. Are slumlords, let's face it. Interestingly, Patrick Westfall was able to confirm that, if you want to believe his word of mouth, because at one point, coming out of the army, he's discharged. I think he was hurt, maybe physically, maybe mentally, I don't know, but he's come out and he's settled in Delphi, as he says a lot of people do initially, coming back to the area because it's a bit cheaper than living in other places where there might be more infrastructure. Okay, and then they commute places, right? So, and living in the area, right? So Flora, living in a slum, basically, in homes where the landlords do not make things safe, they're not following regulations. And the Flora home that burned down in November 2016, this home was definitely not well kept up. And maybe Galen Rose herself, who was working at a local petrol station, maybe she didn't have the means at all to do things like, put a battery in a, smoke detector or something like that. We don't know. But they certainly were not very high spec. And Becky has been asked to go around and do the valuation. Now, the insinuation seems to be by people like baby Mal, because every second word out of her mouth, I mean, anyone who can listen to her, you just can't, okay? You just can't. She's probably trying to make improvements. I know I have verbal tics as well, right? So the insinuations are probably something like either, so Becky Patty, she's done the valuation. She's been asked by Josh Ayres to do something that maybe she's done 100 times. Clearly she never earns a valid dollar, right? Grift, because Mike and Becky Patty, they work hard. They're property owners. Okay, the property owners, they run businesses, they hold jobs down. Okay, so they're trying to be successful, have some money, big fucking deal, woohoo, right? Okay, but the idea is, this is what they're saying. They never quite say it, they just insinuate, but this is the insinuation, that Becky Patty does valuations where she overvalues a property so that when it can be burned down or destroyed or something, then the owner can get more money, right? And then in this case, was she caught unawares? She went around there and horror, a black person's there, Galen Rose. Now, Galen says that Becky was probably quite snooty and sort of a bit bossy, just sort of walked in, said, hi, I'm here to do your valuation. Galen Rose thinks she didn't know about it. Now, I can't imagine people, if they're running such, terrible accommodations, terrible rental properties, that they care for due process themselves, serving a 24-hour notice that someone needs to access the property, which would be what we would do in Australia. I can imagine Becky Patty having attitudes and things like that, right? I don't personally rate her. It doesn't mean that I'm going to accuse her of murder or of being quite happy that her granddaughter is dead. I mean, it's just so revolting. But so the idea is, and then, the 4 girls have died. Okay, the 4 daughters of Galen Rose have died. So, and what are they insinuating? That what? She was taken unawares and now she's been threatened over it? Don't tell, Well, when does True Crime Design or Little Baby Mal, when do they ever come up with it? Show us the money that was paid and show us the fee that was paid. Now, normally, if you're going to be doing some sort of grift like this, right, you're going to be invoicing for the right amount. You're somehow going to be, you're obviously going to be hiding money, right? Or is she that blatant where she's just invoiced for an extremely high amount? Or did she just come into some sort of, payment? How has this happened? Where is the proof? Because for a few $100 or a few $1,000, right? So she's probably busy enough as it is if there's not very many valuators for properties, right? To do it on the up and up. But has anybody audited her? Where is the proof that she's been paid off or that she was doing this for money? They like to throw amounts around like it was insured for $400,000, not $40,000. Of course, the insurance office. See how big this gets, right? So now everyone at the insurance office is, hello, Court in the Act. Hey, that's a cute name. Caught in the Act. Now so it just becomes bigger, right? And we know that human nature doesn't work like this. We exist, the Homo sapiens exist as a race to this day. Yes, okay, because of cooperation, but because of a lot of other things as well that do not involve cooperation, but might just include violence. Okay, but yes, cooperation is part of why species remain on this planet. But does it really work like this, where every single motherfucker in the Carroll County area and in the ISP, from lawyers, prosecution, to families, to children, to teachers, to everybody, they're all so coordinated, so on board, they're all the same. They all agree with the murders of these girls, or why it happened, or the fact that it was necessary or something, right? All for their greater good. I mean, that level of cooperation is not human. It's superhuman. Oh, she said superhuman. See, it's supernatural. No, I didn't say supernatural. So it just doesn't happen. You try organizing something. Try organizing a little get together, but not just you do it and invite people. Try organizing something with a friend, like a birthday party for someone. You try that and you see how cooperative everybody is. All those compromises and all that. Let's go behind. Oh, I don't like what it doesn't work. And it's not happening now in Carroll County, right? But whatever. So, apparently it's for the insurance money. You don't think the insurance officers come at you? We've all seen Fight Club. But people investigate insurance claims. They don't want to pay out. And what are you saying? That they insure with someone, they make sure they've got. It just doesn't work like this. It's just not sustainable. It's not a sustainable grift. It doesn't work like that. So, I mean, there's dodgy deals everywhere. I'm not being naive, but it's not the way everybody operates, and they certainly are not collaborating to this degree, where this huge cabal, whether it's to do with the Freemasons there, that they're all Freemasons, or they're all whatever it is, right? So basically they're saying that, because Baby Mel likes to go, it's an anomaly, the deaths of these girls, it's an anomaly. But she also, well, fuck off, no, because okay, yeah, 4 little girls died in a fire. That's rare, but you, baby Mel, you also like to say, look at all these suspicious fires where people die. Oh, so suspicious fires, people die, but it's an anomaly? No. I'll tell you what is an anomaly for the area. It's the murders of Libby and Abby. Okay, it's the murders of Libby and Abby. That is a fucking anomaly, right? It's a fucking anomaly that a violent fantasy sexual predator has killed these teenage girls, right? Because everything collided for this person at the right time, and he was ready because he'd fantasized for so many years, and he knew the area, and he'd been, you know, casing it probably since 2006. If it's Richard Allen, could be someone else, who knows? And yeah, sure, it could be other people involved as well, but there's one person that was on the bridge, and that's what the charges are. So, you know, or did Becky Patty, is this what she's, they're also implying, because Becky Patty, because of course they're all white supremacists, okay? So they are actually white supremacists, and, you know, this actually was a white supremacist ritual sacrifice, right? And guess what? Ritual is, you know, it's so much more powerful when the person being sacrificed actually volunteers, yeah. So maybe they even volunteered because everyone's just so warped. But maybe Becky turned up and she saw Galen Rose and she thought, oh, yeah, don't like this. We don't want this in our town, you know. People like to talk about racism is alive and well in Indiana, okay? And people don't like to admit it, but white supremacy is alive and well in Indiana. It's just one of the strongholds, but it's actually all through, I talked about this in another live, just to show what happens in law enforcement, you know. It does exist, and it's often in law enforcement. And funnily you might think, Odinists, oh, we don't have a, I know, I don't have a mod here at the moment. So Odin, funnily enough, right, so he's the god that is worshipped traditionally. And when I say traditionally, I'm saying thousands of years ago, up until about 1200 AD, Odin was, you know, Christianity kind of snuffed things out, right? And don't you think Christianity, it's not afraid of a little propaganda, okay? It's not afraid of a little propaganda. You don't think that the human sacrifice, the 9x9, couldn't just be a little bit of Christian propaganda? Because when these stories are told, it's about the time when Christianity really just took over. And so Odin is traditionally the god for the magnates, yeah, and the warriors. Ooh, so yeah, this will get the Delphinite ghouls drooling, because, you know, the magnates, right, being like the David McCains, and I mean, I don't know how you'd call Mike Patty a magnate, but whatever blows. And, you know, warriors, okay, so law enforcement, right, so people at Westfield Prison, and just everybody, okay, so, you know, and the magnates were the one that could afford to host these bigger rituals, right? But, you know, ritual sacrifice, it exists today. You've got Muslims who kill halal, is it? Because, you know, they kill a certain way. That's ritual. That's a way of making death, you know, ritualizing it so that, you know, you're taking life, but making it into something a little bit more sacred, right? And that's what farmers would do on their land too. You'd have the farmers holding their own rituals, their Norse, heathen, pagan rituals. But, you know, it's just part of life, and being through certain eras, part of the sacrifice of your animals, the killing of your animals. Is that maybe better than just going out and just killing them just without any spiritual thought? I don't know, right? So it's just a normal thing. And you're looking at a community that is farming community, an old pagan community, and an old, yeah, sure, societal community. But we know that's how we survive, right? Having our groups. You think, there's religion. I mean, it's just survival in numbers, isn't it? It's sardines schooling, and don't let me get picked off by the dolphin, right? Safety in numbers is a very human survival mechanism. Other creatures do it too, but it's just part of Homo sapienhood. So that's one of the things they're saying. It's either, it's a secret society and this is just yet another ritual sacrifice. Well, where are all these other unsolved murders, that aren't sexual, that aren't, spousal, or, infanticides or whatever, right? Are they naming them? No, so they're making the, big, bold accusations demand big evidence. And these schools don't give you the evidence. They know exactly what they are doing, okay? Don't fall prey to them. A lot of people do. That's how I block people on my channel. I see people, if you're someone that you wonder why you can't comment, it's because you are fucking ockblade on my channel. You're ockblade because I don't want you here commenting, because I see you. Because I'm like a bad smell, right? I'm everywhere. People get sick of me, but I'm everywhere. And when I see you going along with certain garbage, I don't give a shit what you've got to say. You're out, okay? I might talk to you if you address me in other channels, but I'm really not interested because I see you. And you've got people that slime into these other channels. They've got very certain views, but they're just holding them back. And they're there and they're just they're getting in on the conversation. And it's like, for example, R&M Town, how dare you? What are you saying? Because I know what you really think. I see you. We all see you. And yeah, people just expose themselves. And then they think they can go on and get involved in a conversation on quite a sort of more rational level, and hide what they really think, and they're not. And then they're trying to slip in little bits of their beliefs. Levi says Jesus is king and he wants a relationship with y'all. He loves y'all so much. I don't believe in coincidences. I think the Lord is calling someone here. Stay safe and stay blessed in Jesus' name. Well, each to their own, Levi. Do the other murders have the symbolism at the murder scene? And do you mean Galen Rose's children? No. And, other murders that we might want to look at, well, Zion was solved through DNA, but that was 2 girls, bicycles, and the father of one of them, Laura Hobbs's father, was in prison for 5 years until he could clear himself because DNA was retested. This is what they need to do in Delphi. They need to take every little bit of evidence. They need to exhume Libby Nabby, and they need to swab everything, and they need to search again, because you can test somewhere and you've tested here and here, nothing. You can do it again. And Paul Holes says exactly this, and this is how he's solved cold cases. And this needs to be done now to really nail the motherfucker who's done it, no matter whom it is, okay? Whether it's Alan or someone else. So that's what needs to be done. But, Zion, finally, DNA, and it was a boy, it was a 16-year-old at the time who has abducted, sexually assaulted and murdered these 2 girls. And he went on to have a career in assault, rape, and he joined the military then, and he raped and murdered a fellow military officer, a young recruit. Just heinous. And he was eventually caught. And there was, of course, someone who Ruckus Rocks, and I think Steve Webb now, they are chasing up an investigation into the murders of Lyric and Elizabeth in Evansdale, right? Now, this is another two. Also on bicycles, and people make up things like, how could they have been taken by one person? Well, look at Zion. Two young girls, slightly younger, about 8 and 9. I think Lyric and Elizabeth were about 10 and 11. We've got Abby and Libby older again. But yeah, one perpetrator, it happens. And they were found 25 miles away from their abduction site. They weren't taken away. And an FBI agent, whatever we think about them, but she thought at the time, look, it's possible they're held for a week and then dumped. I don't know. I think they might have been killed and then taken where they were and dumped. They could have been taken there and killed there, walked in, because it was in a hunting ground and it was in quite thick, scrubby land. Their bodies were lying in a line like that. But, you know, no, there's not a spate of unsolved murders where there's all these signs. People will bring up the Patterson's murders of Kentucky. Detective Coy Cox, very, you know, he's a bright person, and he's using the Delphi notoriety to highlight his case. So his angle was to say, oh, you know, are there similarities here, right, between Kentucky and the Pattersons, because the scene was so heavily staged, so heavily changed, and the person spent a lot of time there. And importantly, interestingly, Mr. Patterson was treated differently to Mrs. Patterson. Excuse me, it's just a bit of lemon water. I've got to go soon. Treated differently. There was every room was staged, moved around. It was destroyed or staged, right? And it was symbolism and all this stuff, right? Definitely someone trying to say something or got something to say, or maybe just some deranged mind, right? But Mr. Patterson and Mrs. Patterson, we don't know who was treated worse. One was clearly held in disdain, okay? And because something to do with that one person in each room was treated the same. So I wonder if it was a photo, or, you know, and each room was desecrated, destroyed, something like that. Maybe the mother, or, you know, maybe Mr. Patterson, actually, he wasn't even a pastor. He was a church clerk who ran the Wayward Chapel. It's a pit stop, you know, truck stop chapel, right? And yeah, maybe he got out of his depth in something. Mrs. Patterson was quite an invalid. She didn't often go anywhere with, they were often only together. If she went anywhere, she wouldn't go anywhere on her own. He would go and he'd administer sermons and the gospel and everything like that, and sort of, you know, counsel people, right? He's not qualified. He just had a calling, maybe. Maybe it was a narcissistic calling. I don't know. Maybe someone found out something about him. He's not all that. We don't know. Nobody knows. But they lived in this quite private community, and the person was there for quite a long time. You know, so, you know, murders do happen, and that's an unsolved one, but usually they're solved. There was another one where there was witchcraft involved, and yeah, there were symbols everywhere, and it was a bloody scene, and the person was caught. With staged murders, when it's family and when it's children committing the crime, they're usually caught. And that's the thing too. When it's perpetrators, we discuss, people wonder, is this a peer group? What, who is this, right? Because somehow they just don't want to accept that this is a sexual predator. This is they just want the mystery. And sure, these things happen, and I think because they're looking at this satanic thing where they just think, kids being evil, and someone's on the wrong side of someone, right? But teen killings and things like this, and these group killings and these screen killings, and the shadow man or whatever he is killings, these people are brought to justice very quickly. These deranged perpetrators, okay, they're generally psychopaths with serious mental illness, and there's no way they get away with these murders, okay. Which is partly the reason why, Damien Eccles was caught for murdering Stevie Branch, Christopher Moore, and Michael. Stevie Branch. Is it Michael Moore and Christopher Byers? Oh dear, I can't remember. Anywho. I mean, yeah, he didn't even, he just had to have an interest. Maybe he saw something on TV. Maybe he watched True Detective, okay? Maybe someone watched True Detective, and then when an opportunity arose with hang on and chat here. So there's that. They talk about, the family, they're being involved in a secret society. They've gladly murdered not only their own granddaughter, but just, her friend, to promote themselves and to reap benefits, to be powerful. And, they're not proving this, but, they'll make a video analyzing an eyebrow move. I mean, look, no one likes Mike Patty's a twitchy mouth. Okay, but we expect our victims' families to come just packaged, don't we, in this, smooth, likable, relatable package. And we we know Kelsey German, no, she does herself no favors, but she's so introverted, so shy. She just makes a meal of it, right? No wonder she can't become an advocate. Maybe she'll get better as she gets older. And I feel like maybe by the time she's 40 and she's got a lot of confidence through motherhood and things like that, I think she might be better. But people who don't understand trauma, they say they do, because they think they're sort of advocates because they've been through something too. But quite often, look at those people. They think they've been something because they're fucking felonies, but oh no, they've been traumatized. They've been harassed and bullied and manipulated by law enforcement in Indiana. So they've got beef, right? But these guys are scum. Most of us, we're not felons, okay? We're just not. And we can live lives. We're not perfect. We might have things in our past that we've done that aren't exactly great, but we're not talking about, I'm not talking about people that have just had an incident and they've tried to move on with life. They're repeat offenders. They go to prison all the time. And but they were harassed and treated badly. What else did I want to talk about? Anything? Well, because I'd made a video talking more in depth about, okay, what are they insinuating about the Paddies? And it was about 25 minutes, but I was sitting at the ocean and the water, it was just so atmospheric and beautiful. The wind was kind of howling a little bit, really, and the ocean was choppy, and I was trying to watch boats navigate out at sea, and But it was beautiful. It was just a glorious day with just for the senses, you know. And then I thought, I'm not publishing this because I don't want to trash, you know, I don't want to trash this scene with this insidious sickness of, you know, talking about this stuff, right? Anything's possible. Okay, there is corruption, but, you know, no one's perfect, and you don't have to like someone for them not to be guilty of something, okay? And just these people take it only so far, and they're very crafty, and they know how to manipulate. Think about all the people that got on board with, I think, was it Misbehaved that put it out at first? Oh, you know, the Muddy Bloody lady. Yep. This was so-and-so. She named a person that had been arrested, but then charges were dropped. And she said, this is all part of the corruption and the evil prosecution, you know, to persecute this person because, see, she's known to them and they're using her, and they've said, look, we'll drop your drug charges if you say that you saw this person muddy and bloody. It wasn't that person. They make videos giving out the so-called record of Pat Brown and all the charges. It's not even the same person. But too late. Damage done. Anyway, have I wanked on long enough about all the things that I wanted to spit at you today? I just really, you know... We need to be discerning. We need to be discerning about what people are telling us. You know, is this actually correct? And even if it's correct, is it meaningful in the way that they're trying to tell you? Because people are out there, they're really pushing hard for you to believe something about this case, to believe that people who have lost someone in their family, their lives destroyed, they have been taken out of one universe or one dimension and put into another, where poof, someone absolutely does not exist and never will, and they will, you know, and they have an agenda. Sometimes why? Just why? You've got to look at that. I've got you all charged up. Great, good. Go out and prophesize. You know, look, someone who is really fabulous at walking a great line because she doesn't piss people off. She calls them out in a way that I find impossible. I always, you know, I'm out there needling away at things because when I see something wrong, I just go, actually, blah, 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 blah. Or, hey, you need to prove that. Why are you saying it? Stop spreading it. Are you a repeater? Yes, you are. What's wrong with you? You soft in the head, or you're just out here for entertainment, or you're cruel, right? So, but Ivy Rose, who, you know, she's OG, is a brilliant person for this because she's so respectful and conversational in the comment section, and she's very good at it. It's like she is an advocate. She's an advocate for the truth. She's still, you know, she's still curious. She clearly does investigate. Hey, that's curious. That's interesting. I will look into that. She can concede some things, but she's rational and logical and all these things that someone like Julie Melvin will gaslight people about, that she's so smart, and she'll say to the unraveling, see, we're smart, we're the smart ones, we know where it's at. Okay, yeah, sure, you have a modicum of intelligence, you've had an education, so you've got a qualification, you work as an RN, that gives you a little bit of standing as someone, but I can tell you now, the nurses that I know, some of them are most fucked up people I know, right? And she speaks well, and she's been around the area a long time. She's got history. She's got some knowledge. She's a pariah, okay, to the fact she has an agenda, and and she's absolutely leading a charge, and she's sly and shifty. She's very crafty about how she does it and when and where she introduces things and everything. Okay. Anywho, everybody enjoy the rest of your day. I'm going to get cracking because I need to make some lunch before I go and work. I'm going to make some, I'm trying to have more variety in my diet. So yeah, unlike that little mutant wife Lilith who thought that, this is funny, like wife Lilith, she tried to needle me and draw me into the drama because, Rick Snay, he's just a drama channel, right? We know this, and he's been used and abused by people and he doesn't know. But wife Lilith, she tried to drag me in once to this when, months ago when Rick Allen, look, when he's sitting there and he's drooling, he hasn't bothered putting on his clean shirt, which he had the opportunity to do, I'm sure. Yes, Ivy Rose is smart, but she's also a very mature person, and she knows what she's doing. She takes seriously. She doesn't want to alienate people or out. She wants to be welcome so that she can do her work. So she's someone that is. She has a lot of emotional intelligence and a lot of reserve and everything like that. So I really appreciate that. That's the opposite of me. What was I saying? So, yeah, well, she tried to drag me in saying, this wench knows, this girl knows what's what. She knows Richard Allen is being abused and he's in danger in jail and everything, but she won't say anything. I mean, fuck off, wife Lilith. I didn't give other people, they respond to her, and it's just so ludicrous. The best thing you can do is completely ignore these people. Don't feed them. But anyway, so this mutant, I wanted to trigger the Delphi community because they talk about such vulgar things. They're so crass, they're so cruel, but they're not in touch. They don't understand humanity. I ate some raw meat. I just ate a raw steak. Humans are carnivores. Raw meat is very digestible. It's delicious. Eat it with sour cream and some salt. Try it sometime. Good quality beef. But anyway, and so she made this parody video. She tried to humiliate me. And people will talk about it. Oh, we've seen you eating on the toilet floor. No, wife Lilith made a video of herself on the toilet floor, wrapped around her toilet, eating things like processed chicken, crumbed burger, just crap, not real food and everything. She just made a complete fool of herself. So many things go over people's heads, right? But, people still like to bring that up to this day. Oh, aren't you the one that eats raw meat? Yeah. We're human beings, and if you're not intelligent and tuned in enough to know what's good for you, well, I can't help you. But anyway, it's not something that people need to do a lot or at all, but it's something that you can do. If you have diabetes, if you have a lot of conditions, don't suffer. Yeah, if you're overweight, don't suffer. Don't try and eat fruit and veggies. Why? Why are you carving up? Are you an extreme athlete? Maybe if you're trying to cleanse your liver because you've got cirrhosis. Sure. Anyway, but yeah, you won't lose weight if you're eating fruit. It's sugar. Okay? Just eat some beef. Eat some beef. But anywho, some fish, some shellfish. It will change your life. So I'm trying to eat differently was what I was saying, and I'm going to make some pork mince rissoles with ginger, chili, people, and that's a nightshade. That could be inflammatory, but ginger, chili, it's just delicious. Coriander. I've got these panko crumbs to put them in. I think I'll just make some coconut rice. Yesterday I made these rissoles with chicken and lots of sort of other flavors as well. I've got some like a tin of these stewed apple things. They're not quite stewed, but it's these apple slices and juice. They're so soft and delicate. I'm going to put that in with the pork. The chicken ones I had, they were delicious, and I had that on sweet potato starch noodles. Starch is not good, but this was delicious. And that's what I'm going to make. I'm going to make that and eat it and then go to work. So whatever you guys are doing, have a beautiful rest of the day. I love that you were here with me to listen to me just go off about Netflix and chill, which is Baldwin and Rosie, and you know the truth. It's the truth of the matter. And actually, Dr. Ferguson couldn't have said it better herself, even though she was talking about moved and staged murders. You know, Baldwin and Rosie, we are looking, we see you, we see the defects of this situation. The defects of the situation are unprofessionalism, and it doesn't have to be malicious, and it doesn't mean that you're not good-hearted, you weren't trying, but it certainly looks as if a lot of this was intentional. Maybe not photos of your laptop, but I've heard that there are other images as well. They're photos of printed photos, and I also know that these are out actually available to the public if you know where to look. This is the defect of the situation, is that they just haven't been up to scratch. And yes, eat some steak, Brenda. Eat steak and heal your gut, heal your brain, you can change depression, not anxiety. It's a different beast, by cutting out sugar. But I do like sweet things. Yeah, not there, you love steak. Yeah, just, you can sear it if you want. Just sear it, and that will, clean the outside. But bacteria is good for you. People, we live in a world where we're washing our hands with antiseptic, antibacterial soaps and things. That's not how we grew up, is it? We grew up with microbes and dirt. People these days are children, they grow up with allergies and they're ill, aren't they? And hi, Pink Drink. They're growing up with allergies and illnesses and things that we just never had, right? And they might be growing up not eating animal products, animal flesh and fat. And you can look at their bones and you can look at someone and see the lack. And no immune system. And you are robbing somebody of their vitality. And that's just heinous to me. Like a Vogue cover. Don't go too far, Brenda. That would be nice, wouldn't it, though? I should get a ring light on and just smooth out my face. That would be nice. I have put so much weight on in the last year. And for a few years, I used to run all the time. I used to cycle a lot. And I just don't do those things. I'm just, put so much weight on. But I'm trying to lose a little, feel a little bit better. Your weight as such, it's not as important, but how it feels to you and what it means for your health and things like that. We do need to be aware that, especially fat that is inside our gut, okay? So it's wrapped around our organs and it's very unhealthy. We do need to accept that certain types of weight, certain BMIs, they are shortening your life. They really are. So the same way that when you're ultra fit, people will often die very early. They're so fit, they're so lean. And, the human body shouldn't be pushed that as well. Well, it has everything you need for life to sustain life and be healthy. And from plants, you do not get 15 essential nutrients, and you can't synthesize those. You know, vegans will argue that, oh, but we need glucose. Our brain runs on glucose. So, all this carbs, got Freely the Banana Girl. Are the first videos I made, if you find them on here, you can probably sort into a timeline. I think the first 2 videos I posted possibly were about Freely the Banana Girl, the singular human frugivore. We need this for our brain and everything, but that's what our livers are for, okay? So gluconeogenesis is the process whereby we take our proteins and everything and we turn them into everything our body needs, including glucose for our brain, okay? But it's more regulatory than just eating those carbs and having those spikes of sugar into our blood and then our system trying to work with that, right? And that's how you store fat as well. You better go and work those carbs straight off. So that's why, carb cycling does work. But if you are doing intense exercise at certain times with the carb cycling, but honestly, just try and limit your sugar. So just eat whole foods, less processed foods, meats, and less bread and things like that, right? Yeah. And feel better, You don't need to drink soda, soda or fizzy drinks, whatever you call it, Coca-Cola and things like that. And the sugar-free ones, well, what are they putting in it, right? Those are chemicals, toxic chemicals to the brain. Aspartame is linked to dementia and liver toxicity and brain cancers and things, right? And, you don't need it. Get used to drinking sparkling mineral water, maybe with a little squeeze of citrus or a flavor. You get used to it and then you'll love it. Brenda loves, she's got a highfalutin diet, this one. Lobster with Mott and Shandon, and I do believe you say Moet, not Moe. Yeah. But yeah, less carbs, alcohol clearly has a lot of carb. I was very lean for a few years, and when I started the channel, everyone can see how much, my body and face have changed since I've been not having this channel. I've had my channel for a long time, but since I've been uploading, but because I was zero alcohol and was eating a whole lot more just the whole foods, the carnivore diet. And, my diet has changed. I started drinking alcohol again. I've nipped that now. It's not healthy to sustain any sort of alcohol consumption, really. It's a very degradatory to so many systems in your body and your organs and everything. And it's such a destructive thing to do. By all means, enjoy what you enjoy. But yeah. Shellfish is great. I mean, if vegans would only eat oysters, right, they would get everything they need. And eggs, but a lot of them, they won't. Anyway, yeah, I'd better get a wriggle on. I'm really worried about what the time is here. So enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for coming in, everybody. Thanks for commenting, taking part in chat, so that you've all been talking very nicely amongst yourselves, I hope or think, I'm sure. And Animator Fox just got here. I'm just leaving. Anybody who does listen, of course, I hope I listen to everything. Look, here's a tip. Okay, not everyone does this, but a lot of people do, especially, I guess, creators. What we do, by Animator and everybody, but what we do is we listen to absolutely everything on 2.0, which is frustrating for lives, right? And especially for lives that are a lot of fluff and waffle. They don't need to be 4 hours. I mean, here I am, I'm nearly 2 hours, but before you go, what smart ass little comment would you like to say? Yeah, 2 times. So, sometimes I'll just go, well, I won't watch that live. I'm going to want to watch it 2 times and I'm going to want to skip. But everything that's posted, if it's a video that's uploaded, it's 2.0. You can't get, not there yet, saying they appreciate all the conversation in here. Yeah, I do get trolled a lot. It's just the way it is. They just love to for some reason. Is that a little wavy thing? I don't know. Maybe Animator Fox is one. Remember during Watts and everything, there were the little babies that would come in, the gummies and stuff, and come to chat and go, ooh, and they were just, they were funny little jolly trolls, but yeah, mostly they're not. But I do get a lot of cyberbullies and trolls, and they love to come in here and try and upset my chats. And it really is hard to concentrate when you do have people, but I'm getting pretty good at spotting them, I think, for the most part. Oh God, what was I saying? But yes, the chat in here, it's usually very, very nice. But I think, I definitely do not get promoted in YouTube. Every now and then I might turn up in a feed. But it's just like I never ask for a like. I never ask for a sub. I've somehow gotten all these subs. It's incredible. I remember getting 200 and then 500. I actually had 50 subs before I ever posted anything. Because of being in the carnivore community online and because of being in some true crime communities, and I was often in comment sections and everything. I had 50 subscribers before I even posted a video. And back then too, it used to be slog. We had to slog away to get even a community page and things like that. And now it seems to be handed to a lot of people that they can go live instantly, it seems, and they've got a community page at 500 and then maybe 200 people and all of these things, and less watch hours they need. And it used to be really difficult. Thank you, not there yet. I do like it when people do it, but nothing's expected, but it helps. But I'm just not promoted now because we don't say unalived here, okay, and we don't say things like that. We need, I want to, we're mature, we're adults. This is not for kids, this channel. We are talking about crime and some really dark subject matters. That's what we do. And when people say, because YouTube won't this and that, it's because they won't monetize the video, okay? But a lot of people also have patrons and things like that. Now, they can earn money however they want. That is not for anybody to say, but that's often why bigger channels, when they are, out there. But even Crime Talk now, he's saying that he's not getting promoted now. Maybe he's talked about the wrong case. I don't know. I've noticed that shorts won't play now. If it's got themes of suicide in it, it just doesn't play. It's like, well, have I ever said that I cannot handle or aren't interested in those human stories? I'm very interested in those human stories. Suicide it's something we need to talk about. I've made videos about this. I've completed several suicide prevention courses. Every single course, no matter what the organization is that is running it, no matter what the training you receive there, they all know that we need to just say the word. And when we're not saying the word, when we use euphemisms, okay, if you want to talk to somebody in your life, you're worried about them, do not say. So, James, I've been really worried about you lately. Are you thinking of harming yourself? And you might think that this is great, right? Jamie's going to say, no, no friend, no mum, no cousin, no colleague. No, I'm not thinking of harming myself. No, they're not thinking of harming themselves, are they? They're thinking of relieving themselves. They're thinking of death. They're thinking of killing themselves. Don't use euphemisms, and you've got to just get them through that one day. Don't try and think too far ahead, but you want to say, James, I've noticed that you're not yourself lately, and you haven't been taking pleasure in the things that we usually enjoy together. And I've noticed that you're not yourself, and I'm very worried, and I need to know, and you can tell me, are you thinking of killing yourself? Is suicide on your mind? Okay, it is. I thank you for opening up to me, because this is safe. This is a safe space for you to talk about this, because I'm not afraid of it. Okay, so you need to know that it's okay, because I'm not afraid to talk about this with you. James, can you tell me, please, how are you thinking of doing this? Have you got a plan, or is it something that you're thinking about but haven't actioned? Okay, yeah, that's okay. Well, why don't I take your car keys now, and we'll just go and talk about places that can help you. We just need to get you through these moments and let you know that there are resources for you and that people care. And try not to think too far ahead, but let's just keep you safe for now. So I'm going to take your car keys, because maybe James, young men crash their cars. They crash their cars into trees. They drive recklessly. It's suicide. Old men hang themselves. Old women starve themselves to death. Has someone thought about how to do it? Are they stockpiling medications? Whatever it is, we need to ask, and we need to make them safe. You're not trying to solve their problems. You're just keeping them safe that 24 hours, right? You just got to get through that cycle. That's what suicide prevention is about. And Johnny's, relieving his stress and pressure by, playing. Hi, Connor. By playing his guitar, and he plays guitar for other people as well. Yeah, disco duck. I don't know what that is. But anyway, I really have to go, because I've got to go to work. Now I might not be able to make my lovely rissoles and rice. I might just be having the rice. Yeah, so, or, with a poached egg and some rice and some soy sauce or something like that. But anyway, okay, thank you so much for all the humanimals that do turn up here, that contribute, that talk in the comment sections afterwards, that want to have rational conversations in places that they go, that try to get through to people in maybe a more polite way than I do in these comment sections, that, just stand for rationality and stand for due process and stand for patience. Okay, have some patience. The American system, there's no patience for due process there. You want, push things along, and you don't want to wait and see, and you need to know now. And yeah, so anyway, I'm really going to run. So we'll talk soon. Probably next it's going to be about Erin Patterson, possible mushroom murderer. Okay, so Australian case from Victoria down south. She's been arrested, not charged, and there are search warrants out and dogs in her house and all that palaver, and that's when they're going to get the evidence, isn't it? Even though they've been investigating. I don't see what people don't understand about Richard Allen and, evidence coming after the arrest and everything, when they've got access. We don't know the discovery. We don't know what the evidence is. People think they do. They think they do. they don't. And that's on either side of the fence that hopefully we're on. See you later. Let's shut the gate.